Hello, my dear viewers. Welcome back to part 2 of my urban landscape. This is the Verrazzano Narrows Bridge. And as you can see, I've added some more of the cables and emphasized the street lamps and put in off camera. I put in a lot of the details on the street scenes like one-way signs, traffic lights, street lamps, store signs, and all the little busy details that make up a city scene. Since the angle is aimed at the bridge, I wasn't able to capture much of the car traffic, but that's okay because the cars are very, very detailed and very busy. And in the distance, they just sort of go into a blur. So it's hard to make them out in a drawing. So I'm going to start by coloring in the bridge itself. I prepared a whole bunch of colors here. Here's a mixture of dark blue and raw umber. I will use this instead of black, which is the black of the ink, just to give it some contrast. And here's the blue of the sky. This is a cerulean blue. It's also the same blue as the bridge. And the brick buildings, I've mixed some orange and burnt sienna. So yeah, so I'm going to get started, get this show on the road. I'm using a number 6 for the bridge. This is because I have to be a little more careful with the lines, because that's what defines the bridge. So first I'm going to do a wash. I have an interesting story. When I took that photograph, I had just come out of a shopping episode, and I was so impressed by the view of the bridge, but I forgot what street it was on. So after numerous attempts to locate, I enlisted the help of Google Maps, Google Street Maps, and finally, after many tries, I was able to locate the exact spot where I took the picture. And that explains a lot of the one-way signs and the direct, the street signs. Okay, I'm just gonna darken the archway right here. I've always felt that this bridge is underappreciated. It is quite an engineering marvel, if you think about it. There. So that takes care of the bridge itself. I'm just gonna fix this little mistake here. Just add some clouds so it's not too obvious that it's a and this also gives the illusion of depth. You have things in the background and you have things in the foreground. Okay, so that's it for the bridge itself. So I'm going to focus on the big shapes, like the blocky square shapes, rectangular shapes, which are the buildings, and they are alternating different colors. Some are dark, some are light. So I will start, I'm going to switch brushes now to a flat brush and do a wash on the buildings. some parts of the buildings are in shadow, so I'm adding some blue to create that. And what would Bay Ridge be without pizza? So this is the pizza shop. I'm going to do that in a brighter brick color. Okay, and then some buildings are just this grayish. And I had to remember to put in the fire escapes. What is a cityscape without fire escapes? Here's the deli and the pet shop. It seems to me that this project, most of the work is the planning. The watercolor is actually the easy part or the fun part. The challenging part was to get the details of the street signs and traffic lights and perspective. And that's the difference when you do urban landscape, especially if it's a cityscape. I mean, this is my opinion. I believe that it should be as accurate as possible out of respect for the city itself. I think it's easier when you're doing landscapes from nature where you can be a little more lax with the placement of the elements like the trees and grass and sky. Okay. So now I will proceed to the left side. I know this lower building here is kind of a reddish brick color. And this taller structure is more of a gray. And just for contrast, when you have a building that has angled sides, it's good to have, just for contrast's sake, a different color from the shadowed part and the part that faces the light. Just add some random shadows here. Because most of the left side of the street is more in the shadow because it's cast by the buildings on the opposite side of the street. This is the don't walk sign. And here is your stop sign. I took note of a very interesting comment by an artist who does watercolor landscapes, and he would do watercolors in the outdoors. And he said when you're outdoors, you don't have a lot of time. You want to be fast, and the word he uses, editorialize. You editorialize the scene. You eliminate a lot of unnecessary detail and try to get as much of the main things as quickly as possible. And I agree. There's a lot of benefit to that attitude because you don't get too caught up in small details. I mean, you have to strike a balance, of course. Especially this is a city scene where city scenes are normally busy anyway. So, but it's good to focus on the main parts that are important and eliminate a lot of unimportant details. Okay. That's the majority of the larger shapes. Now I will just, with a finer brush, fill in some dark parts here. And as you go further and further into the distance, things become more indistinct. They just kind of disappear. Okay, that was the hard part. Okay, one more thing. There's always one more thing. Can't forget the tree branches. Hi, I'm back from a short break. We are coming down to the last leg of this video. As you can see, I've colored in most of the sky, some cloud details, and I've elaborated the Bishop's Crook lamppost. You have a stop sign, your walk, don't walk signs, a few street lamps, a few one-way street signs. So I'm just going to fill in some color details here with the pet shop, the deli, the pizza store, and so on. So I will start with the store signs and the walk, don't walk sign. And that is a pale yellow. Actually, it's not too pale, but when it dries, it lightens up. And here are a few traffic lights. So now these street signs are green. That's a standard green all over the country. Okay. I'm just going to add some small detail on the trees. I think these little touches of detail add contrast and interest to the scene. And I'm going to do the same here. Mixing some green with some raw umber for that to create a darker shade. So what the darker color does is give the tree leaves some volume. In actuality, the tree on the avenue is very skinny. Like many trees you find on the street corners, they're not the best environment for them. But I'm just doing this to exaggerate, to give more interest to the picture. Just adding some small suggestion of leaves in addition to the masses of green. You have these dark dots that give the illusion that it's a very leafy tree. And at the same time, by doing this, I'm toning down the green, considering that the time of day, it's almost sunset. So the light is not as bright. So you don't have too much of a bright green. And the tree also establishes the time of year. This is like early September, if I recall. Okay. I'm just going to darken the trunk a little bit. Give it some volume. Okay, there's your sidewalk tree. Now, just gonna work on some more of this greenery here. And since it's in the distance, it's kind of dark. I think this is just about it for all the details. In a piece like this, it's very easy to get carried away and just keep adding and adding. But there comes a point where you know that it's time to stop, because whatever small details don't really add much to the overall impact of the artwork. So I'm glad to say that this piece is done. All I need to do when this dries is erase the excess graphite with a pencil here and there, and call this piece done. So thank you so much for having the patience to watch this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time.